in Lugansk area, ceasefire continues. In Donetsk area, the epicenter of military actions is Avdiivka. Half of all enemy shellings of Ukrainian position in the Donetsk region is in the production area of the city. More than half hundred of mortar shells fell there, and enemy snipers were active there. About midnight, the enemy attacked Ukrainian positions in this region. The enemy used 122 millimeter self-propelled artillery unit called Gvozdivka, and in the course of enemy fire, an elderly woman died, and 2 houses were damaged. Our servicemen were forced to return fire. The enemy continues to carry out reconnaissance activities, and near Avdiivka yesterday, the SBU officers brought down enemy air drone Orlan 10 of Russian production. It was created in the Special Technological Center in St. Petersburg, and only Russian specialists can operate this drone. And the situation remains tense in other areas. In Svetlodarska Bulge, the militants delivered fire with the use of armored vehicles, and the enemy also continues to use mortars in the suburbs of Gorlovka and near the Donetsk airport. And before the sunset, an enemy sniper was active near Pisky. In Mariupol area, the militants delivered artillery fire to the south of Pavlopolsky water reservoir, and they launched more than 10 shells at Ukrainian positions. And enemy provocations were also carried out in other areas in front line, in Shirokino, Gnutovo, and Novotroitsk. Enemy snipers were active near Marienka. During the last 24 hours in Mariupol area, there were 15 shellings of our positions, and the majority of them are precision shellings. Ukrainian military intelligence confirms new facts of supply from the Russian territory, the supply of ammunition and equipment and fuel and lubricants to the militants and Russian regular forces. 2 echelons arrived to Ilovaisk, bringing ammunition and military equipment, including 4 tanks T-72, ammunition, and 280 tons of diesel fuel. And 1 echelon came to Kharkiv. It brought some ammunition, military equipment, and 160 tons of fuel. Also, Chief Intelligence Department informs that there are increase in losses among the militants. And 9 dead were brought to the morgue in Donetsk, and 21 wounded to Donetsk hospitals. At the same time, it was known that 5 Russian servicemen were wounded, and they were the members of subversive group in Shirokino region. During the last 24 hours, in the result of the military action, no Ukrainian serviceman was killed, 5 were wounded. 4 were wounded near Avdiivka, and 1 in the region of the Donetsk airport. In Chernigivshina, the law enforcement officers and the counterintelligence officers of SBU found, identified and detained 2 agents of Russian special forces. These were father and son. They tried to bribe Ukrainian servicemen and officers in order to get information about the military units and divisions of Ukrainian forces that serve in the ATO area. The traitors were detained at Senikivka checkpoint when they tried to leave to Russia. And they confiscated important papers that these traitors planned to hand over to Russian special services. And it is known that both of these men were granted Russian citizenship. And SBU informed about suspicion of crime to the mayor of Popasna. He is accused of organizing separatist pseudo-referendum and supporting the militants. And SBU military counterintelligence officers and law enforcers prevented subversive act against Ukrainian servicemen in Donetsk area. In Karlivka village, Mariinsky village, the special service officers found 5 mines with general purpose self-made fuses on wire traps. And subverters installed this equipment in forest line near the road that leads to one of the military units. Special forces of the armed forces of Ukraine were trained, and they were parachuted from the transport airplanes and helicopters. And there are some trainings in Vinnytsia with the use of An-26 and helicopter Mi-8. And in the course of the flight, they were trained in parachuting from the airplanes. And if you have some questions, do you have questions? Thank you very much and goodbye.